March 2023, a $20 million F-35 fighter jet streaks across the sky at Mach 1.6. Below, 10,000 drones, each costing barely $1,000, rise like a mechanical plague. The pilot has missiles, cannons, and cutting-edge avionics. The swarm has numbers. In 90 seconds, it's over. The jet is disabled, crashing in flames. The swarm loses 600 units but completes its mission. Cost to the attacker, $600,000. Cost to the defender, $20 million plus a trained pilot. This isn't a future scenario. This is the warfare unfolding right now, and it's obliterating every assumption we had about military power. For the past century, one rule dominated warfare: build the best weapon and you win. Spend more, engineer better, deploy smarter. The strongest military meant the most advanced technology. But that doctrine is collapsing in real time, and the world's superpowers are scrambling to adapt. Drone swarms have resurrected an ancient battlefield truth that modern militaries forgot. Sometimes 1,000 paper cuts kill faster than a single sword strike. Today, we're witnessing the most fundamental shift in combat since gunpowder replaced the sword. Quantity isn't just competing with quality anymore, it's crushing it. And every military strategist on Earth is terrified because the implications are staggering. Let's rewind. For decades, superpowers poured unfathomable wealth into individual platforms. The F-35 Lightning II fighter jet, $80 million per unit, with a program cost exceeding $1.7 trillion. A single Gerald R. Ford-class aircraft carrier, $13 billion before you even staff it or load aircraft. One Virginia-class submarine runs $3.5 billion. The philosophy seemed bulletproof. Technological superiority equals battlefield dominance. One advanced Abrams tank could obliterate 10 inferior Soviet models. One B-2 stealth bomber could penetrate any air defense network and strike with impunity. Then the battlefields of Ukraine, Syria, and Nagorno-Karabakh shattered this illusion. Turkish Bayraktar TB2 drones, costing roughly $5 million each, systematically destroyed Russian tanks and air defense systems worth 3 to 4 times that amount. But the real earthquake came from commercial drones, modified DJI Mavics and Phantoms, available on Amazon for $1,500, suddenly became precision strike weapons. Soldiers zip-tied grenades to quadcopters and dropped them through tank hatches, into trenches, onto unsuspecting infantry from angles no traditional weapon could reach. The math became undeniable and brutal. Why invest $8 million in a Javelin missile system when a $500 drone with a $50 grenade achieves comparable tactical results? Traditional anti-aircraft batteries, engineered to track supersonic jets, were helpless against slow-moving, low-altitude swarms of cheap plastic drones. The era of the superweapon wasn't defeated by a superior weapon. It was overwhelmed by thousands of inferior ones. A drone swarm isn't just multiple drones flying together. It's a coordinated intelligence system that operates like a biological organism. Each drone communicates with others in real time, sharing sensor data and adjusting tactics instantly. If you destroy 10 drones, the remaining 90 recalibrate and continue the mission. The technology relies on 3 core principles: distributed processing, autonomous decision-making, and redundancy. Unlike traditional military units that collapse without command structure, swarms have no single point of failure. The brain is distributed across every unit. Modern swarms use AI algorithms inspired by nature, flocking birds, swarming bees, hunting wolf packs. They can split into subgroups, overwhelm defenses from multiple angles, and sacrifice expendable units to probe enemy weaknesses. Some experimental swarms have demonstrated the ability to autonomously identify and prioritize targets without human input. China has already demonstrated swarms of 200-plus drones performing coordinated maneuvers. The US military tested swarms that can self-organize, adapt to battlefield changes, and make collective decisions in milliseconds. This isn't remote control warfare anymore, it's autonomous warfare with judgment distributed across hundreds of cheap, expendable platforms. Here's where drone swarms become geopolitically terrifying. A nation doesn't need an $800 billion defense budget to threaten a superpower anymore. They need manufacturing capability and software engineers. Iran demonstrated this principle by providing Shahed 136 drones to Russia, simple, relatively crude drones costing approximately $20,000 each. Ukraine had to use air defense missiles costing hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars to shoot them down. The cost-exchange ratio was disastrous for the defender. This creates a nightmare scenario called defense saturation. Even the most advanced military can only intercept so many targets simultaneously, send 100 drones, and maybe 95 get shot down. But those 5 that get through can still destroy critical infrastructure, military assets, or command centers. Non-state actors and terrorist organizations are watching this evolution with great interest. The technology to build basic autonomous drones is increasingly accessible. 3D printing, commercial electronics, and open-source AI software mean that what once required a nation-state defense budget can now be assembled in a warehouse with a few $100,000. Traditional defense contractors face an existential crisis. Their entire business model is built on selling small numbers of extremely expensive, high-margin platforms. Lockheed Martin doesn't want to sell 10,000 drones at $10,000 each. They want to sell 10 aircraft at $100 million each. But militaries are waking up to a harsh reality. You can't win a swarm war with small numbers of expensive platforms. The US military is now frantically investing in counter-swarm technology and its own offensive swarm capabilities, but the transition is painful. The solution requires rethinking manufacturing, supply chains, and doctrine. Instead of artisanal production of complex weapon systems, militaries need mass production capabilities more similar to consumer electronics. Instead of platforms that last 40 years, they need acceptable systems that can be replaced every 2 to 3 years as technology evolves. Some companies are adapting. Anduril, a newer defense tech startup, specifically designed its systems around mass production and lower costs. But legacy contractors with decades of established contracts and production lines are struggling to pivot. The companies that dominated 20th century warfare may not survive the 21st. The drone swarm revolution is just beginning. Researchers are developing counter-swarm technologies, directed energy weapons, AI-powered interception drones, electronic warfare systems that can jam swarm communications, and even swarms designed specifically to hunt other swarms. But offensive technology is evolving faster than defensive measures. Future swarms will include underwater drones attacking naval vessels, ground-based robotic swarms clearing trenches, and aerial swarms that can operate for hours using solar charging. Some will carry sensors rather than weapons, creating a persistent surveillance net that makes hiding impossible. The most disturbing development is true autonomy, swarms that can identify, track, and eliminate targets without human authorization. International law and ethics haven't caught up to the technology. What happens when a swarm makes a targeting mistake? Who's responsible when autonomous weapons commit war crimes? We're entering an era where military power isn't measured just by how advanced your weapons are, but by how many you can deploy, how quickly you can replace losses, and how effectively your systems can coordinate. The warfare of the future looks less like Top Gun and more like a collision between rival ant colonies. Drone swarms are proving that in modern warfare, quantity isn't just a strategy, it's becoming the only strategy that matters. The age of the superweapon is over. What do you think? Will quality ever make a comeback, or is swarm warfare unstoppable? Drop your thoughts below and subscribe to see how this technology evolves. You won't want to miss what's coming.